The psychology of human wants, unraveling the desires that drive us. Understanding the science behind what we crave and why. Chapter 1. Introduction to human wants versus needs. What do we really want, and how does it differ from what we need? This is a question as old as humanity itself, and one that continues to shape our lives, often without us even realizing it. At its core, understanding the difference between wants and needs is essential to making sense of our behaviors, choices, and, ultimately, our happiness. Yet, in modern society, the line between the two is frequently blurred, with wants often masquerading as needs. In this chapter, we will explore the nature of human desires, delving into both philosophical and psychological perspectives to unravel the complexities of why we crave certain things and why distinguishing between our wants and needs can be so difficult. Defining wants and needs at the most basic level, needs are the things that are essential for survival. These are the non-negotiables, the fundamental requirements of life: food, water, shelter, and, for humans, social connection. Psychologist Abraham Maslow, in his famous hierarchy of needs, categorized these as physiological needs, the foundation of all human motivation. Beyond these essentials, however, the line between needs and desires becomes less clear. Wants, on the other hand, are the things we desire but do not require to survive. They are shaped by personal preferences, cultural norms, and societal influences. While needs keep us alive, wants often enhance our quality of life, providing comfort, joy, and a sense of fulfillment. However, in modern society, with constant exposure to advertising, social media, and cultural pressures, what starts as a simple want can easily be elevated to the level of a perceived need. Take, for instance, the smartphone. 20 years ago, it would have been considered a luxury, a want. Today, for many, it feels like a necessity. This blurring of lines is not unique to technology. Our entire consumer-driven world often presents wants in the language of needs, convincing us that happiness, success, and social acceptance depend on having the latest gadgets, clothes, or experiences. Philosophical perspectives on desire. From a philosophical standpoint, the question of wants and needs has been a topic of debate for centuries. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Epicurus proposed that the key to happiness lay in simplifying our desires. He believed that many of our wants are unnecessary and that true happiness comes from limiting our desires to only what is essential. For Epicurus, happiness could be found in simple pleasures, such as friendship and living in harmony with nature, rather than in material wealth or power. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, writing during the Enlightenment, argued that society corrupts our natural desires, creating artificial wants. He believed that in the state of nature, humans were content with fulfilling their basic needs, but civilization introduced vanity and competition, leading people to desire more than they need. These philosophical ideas echo through time and remain relevant today as we consider the modern landscape of desire. In a world of excess, can we still find contentment by stripping our wants down to the essentials? Or, as some psychologists argue, are wants as integral to our human experience as needs, providing motivation, growth, and a sense of purpose? Psychological perspectives on wants and needs. From a psychological perspective, the distinction between wants and needs is crucial for understanding human behavior. As mentioned earlier, Maslow's hierarchy of needs provides a framework for this understanding, categorizing human motivation into 5 levels: physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. According to Maslow, once our basic needs are met, we strive to fulfill higher-order wants, such as social acceptance, personal achievement, and creative expression. However, modern research in psychology suggests that our brains are wired in ways that can make it difficult to separate wants from needs. The neurotransmitter dopamine plays a key role in this process. Often referred to as the pleasure chemical, dopamine is released when we anticipate a reward, driving our desire for that reward. The more we indulge in certain activities, whether it's eating a favorite food, scrolling through social media, or buying a new item, the more our brain reinforces the behavior, making us want to repeat it. In some cases, this process can lead to hedonic adaptation, where the satisfaction we feel from fulfilling a want diminishes over time, causing us to seek out new, often more extreme, desires to recapture that initial thrill. This is why the excitement of a new purchase fades after a while, leaving us craving something else. The blurring of wants and needs in modern society. This distinction between wants and needs is often manipulated by external forces. Marketing and advertising play a significant role in shaping our desires, often appealing to our emotions and sense of identity. We are constantly bombarded with messages that suggest happiness, status, and fulfillment can be attained through consumption. As a result, wants are frequently framed as needs. A new car is not just a mode of transportation, it's a symbol of success. A designer outfit is not just clothing, it's a ticket to social acceptance. The rise of social media has only intensified this dynamic. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok create an environment where we are constantly exposed to the lives, or at least the curated versions, of others. Seeing others with things we want, be it material possessions, experiences, or relationships, can trigger social comparison, a psychological process where we evaluate ourselves in relation to others. This often leads to increased desire, as we strive to keep up with those we perceive as more successful, attractive, or fulfilled. Practical takeaways: understanding the difference between wants and needs can lead to a more fulfilling life. By being aware of the forces that shape our desires, whether they come from internal drives like dopamine or external pressures from society, we can make more conscious choices about what we pursue. Here are a few reflection questions to help you evaluate your own wants and needs. 1. What are your basic needs, and are they being met? 2. Are there any desires in your life that have been elevated to the status of a need? Why? 3. How much of your desire is shaped by external influences, such as advertising or social media? 4. What steps can you take to focus on fulfilling needs rather than chasing fleeting wants? By pausing to reflect on these questions, we can start to disentangle the complex web of desires that drive us, leading to a life that is more intentional and, perhaps, more content. Conclusion: the distinction between wants and needs is a fundamental aspect of human psychology, yet it is a distinction that is easily lost in the complexities of modern life. As we navigate a world filled with constant stimuli, understanding the difference between what we truly need and what we merely desire can help us make better decisions, reduce stress, and ultimately lead to greater satisfaction. In the following chapters, we will dive deeper into the science of human desire, exploring how different factors, from biology to culture, shape what we crave and why. Chapter 2. Evolutionary origins of desires. Have you ever wondered why certain desires, like craving comfort food or seeking approval from others, feel so deeply ingrained in who we are? These desires, which often seem trivial in the grand scheme of things, are actually the product of millions of years of evolution. They are not just whims of the modern world but are rooted in the survival instincts of our ancestors. By exploring the evolutionary origins of our desires, we can better understand why we crave what we do and how these ancient impulses manifest in contemporary life. The survival basis for human desires have always been closely tied to survival. In the prehistoric era, early humans faced a harsh and unpredictable environment. They needed food, shelter, safety, and social bonds to ensure their survival and reproductive success. Desires were the brain's way of ensuring that people took the necessary actions to secure these essentials. Take the desire for food, for instance. For our ancestors, food wasn't guaranteed. Starvation was a real threat, and survival often depended on consuming high-calorie foods whenever they were available. This is why we evolved to crave fatty and sugary foods, because they provided the energy necessary to fuel a demanding, physical lifestyle. Today, we live in an environment of abundance, but our brains haven't caught up. We still crave those high-calorie foods, even though most of us no longer face the threat of famine. This ancient desire is what makes it so hard to resist a bag of chips or a slice of cake, even when we know they're not good for us. Similarly, the desire for social connection is rooted in our evolutionary past. Early humans were not solitary creatures. Survival depended on cooperation and group living. Being part of a tribe meant protection from predators, access to shared resources, and a better chance at finding a mate. As a result, the human brain evolved to crave social bonds and the approval of others. Even today, being socially connected is one of the most powerful predictors of happiness and well-being. Our craving for likes on social media or our need for validation from peers can be traced back to this ancient desire to belong. Evolutionary psychology and the adaptation of wants. The field of evolutionary psychology helps us understand how the wants and needs that helped our ancestors survive have adapted to the modern world. While survival is no longer a daily concern for most people, the same basic drives persist. What has changed are the ways these desires manifest. A key concept in evolutionary psychology is mismatch theory, which explains how traits that evolved in one environment can become maladaptive in another. For example, in our ancestors' world, overeating whenever food was available made sense. The brain rewarded this behavior because it increased the chances of survival in a world where food could be scarce. But in today's world, where food is often abundant, this same drive to overeat leads to obesity and other health problems. Likewise, our ancestors' desire for status played a crucial role in their survival. Higher status individuals had better access to resources, attracted more mates, and were more likely to pass on their genes. In the modern world, the markers of status have shifted from physical dominance and hunting ability to wealth, job titles, and even social media influence. The drive for status is the same, but the ways we pursue it have changed. This can explain why people sometimes chase material wealth or career success even at the expense of their well-being. How early human desires shaped modern cravings. The desires that shaped our ancestors' lives are still very much with us today, though they often show up in different forms. Let's take a closer look at some of these desires and how they play out in modern life. 1. Craving comfort food. Have you ever found yourself reaching for a tub of ice cream after a stressful day? This is not just about enjoying a sweet treat, it's rooted in an ancient connection between food and emotional well-being. For early humans, finding food in times of stress meant survival. Eating high-calorie foods signaled to the brain that it was safe, reducing anxiety. Today, we still seek out comfort foods in response to stress, even though the threats we face are far less immediate than those our ancestors encountered. 2. Seeking social approval. In prehistoric societies, social approval wasn't just a nice bonus, it was critical for survival. Being part of a group meant protection and shared resources, so humans evolved to deeply care about their reputation and standing within their tribe. Fast forward to the present, and this desire manifests in the way we interact on social media, in the workplace, and in our social circles. We seek likes, followers, and positive feedback because our brains are still wired to believe that social approval equates to safety and belonging. 3. The pursuit of instant gratification. Our ancestors lived in an environment where delaying gratification could be dangerous. If food or resources were available, they needed to be consumed immediately because there was no guarantee they would be there tomorrow. This is why we struggle with delayed gratification today. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards, even when long-term thinking might be more beneficial. This ancient drive makes it difficult to resist temptations like binge-watching TV shows or spending money impulsively. Practical application. Managing desires in modern life. While our evolutionary history explains why we crave certain things, it doesn't mean we're helpless to these desires. By understanding the origins of our cravings, we can learn to manage them more effectively. Here are a few strategies to help. 1. Practice mindful awareness. Recognize when a desire is being triggered by an ancient survival mechanism. Ask yourself, is this something I really need right now, or is my brain responding to an outdated signal? 2. Delay gratification. Train your brain to resist the urge for instant rewards. Start small by delaying a minor gratification, like waiting 5 minutes before indulging in a snack, and gradually build up your ability to delay more significant desires. 3. Reframe your goals. Understand that modern desires for status, wealth, or social approval are rooted in evolutionary drives. By reframing your goals, focusing on intrinsic rewards like personal growth, creativity, or meaningful relationships, you can pursue fulfillment that aligns more with your long-term well-being. Conclusion. Our evolutionary history has deeply shaped the desires we experience today. While many of these desires once served us well in a world of scarcity and danger, they can sometimes lead us astray in the modern world of abundance and convenience. By recognizing the evolutionary roots of our cravings, we can better manage them and make choices that lead to a more fulfilling life. In the next chapter, we'll explore how social and cultural factors further influence what we want, providing another layer to the complex nature of human desire. Chapter 3. Maslow's hierarchy in modern context. If you've ever wondered why some people, after achieving financial success or stability, turn their attention towards self-improvement, creative projects, or spiritual pursuits, the answer lies in a concept called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Developed by psychologist Abraham Maslow in the 1940s, this model has shaped our understanding of human motivation for decades. In essence, it explains how our desires evolve as we move from basic survival needs to higher aspirations, such as creativity and self-fulfillment. But how does Maslow's hierarchy apply to modern life? In a world where many of us are fortunate enough to meet our basic needs, what happens to our wants? How does our pursuit of self-actualization, the highest level of Maslow's hierarchy, manifest in today's society? In this chapter, we'll explore the relevance of Maslow's theory in understanding the complex relationship between our needs and desires in the 21st century. Overview of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At its core, Maslow's hierarchy is a 5-tier model of human needs, often depicted as a pyramid. The basic premise is that we are motivated to fulfill our most fundamental needs first. Only once these are met can we focus on higher-order needs, eventually reaching self-actualization, which represents the full realization of one's potential. The 5 tiers, from the bottom to the top, are 1. Physiological needs. These are the most basic requirements for survival, such as food, water, warmth, and rest. 2. Safety needs. Once physiological needs are met, we seek safety and security, which can include physical safety, financial stability, and health. 3. Love and belongingness. After achieving safety, we crave social connection, friendship, family bonds, romantic relationships, and a sense of community. 4. Esteem needs. With social bonds in place, we turn to self-esteem and the desire for recognition, respect, and achievement. 5. Self-actualization. At the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, the pursuit of personal growth, creativity, and the realization of one's unique potential. This hierarchical structure suggests that desires become more complex and abstract as more fundamental needs are satisfied. But Maslow himself acknowledged that this process is not linear or rigid. Many people experience desires from multiple levels of the hierarchy simultaneously. For instance, someone might be working on their self-esteem while still seeking more financial security. The shift from basic survival to self-actualization in modern society. In the context of modern life, many people are fortunate enough to have their physiological and safety needs met consistently. Access to food, shelter, and basic safety is taken for granted by a large portion of the population, especially in affluent societies. With these foundational needs secure, our attention naturally shifts to higher levels of the hierarchy, particularly to self-actualization. But what does self-actualization look like in today's world? For some, it might be the pursuit of a creative passion, writing a book, starting a business, or creating art. For others, it might manifest as a desire to contribute to society, perhaps through volunteering, activism, or mentoring. What's important to note is that self-actualization is deeply personal. It's about becoming the best version of yourself based on your individual aspirations, values, and talents. However, the journey to self-actualization can be complicated by modern distractions and societal pressures. In Maslow's time, the pathway to self-fulfillment was often framed around internal growth and personal development. Today, we're bombarded with external markers of success, social media likes, professional titles, material wealth, that can confuse or distort our sense of what it means to be truly fulfilled. The rise of consumerism and social comparison has created a world in which people often confuse wants for needs, making the pursuit of self-actualization feel both elusive and overwhelming. How wants shift as needs are satisfied. As we ascend through Maslow's hierarchy, our desires shift from immediate, tangible needs to more abstract, complex wants. Let's break down how these shifts occur at each level of the pyramid. 1. Physiological and safety needs. At the bottom of the hierarchy, our wants are straightforward: food, water, shelter, and safety. These are non-negotiables, and when they are threatened or unmet, they dominate our thoughts. Think of how hard it is to concentrate on work when you're hungry, or how impossible it is to focus on personal growth when your financial stability is uncertain. In these situations, our wants are almost indistinguishable from our needs. 2. Love and belongingness. Once we've secured our basic needs, we naturally turn to social connection. The desire for relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, becomes a primary motivator. In today's world, this can look like joining social groups, pursuing romantic partnerships, or engaging in online communities. Social media has added a new layer to this need, where virtual belonging and online relationships are sought after just as much as in-person connections. 3. Esteem needs. The need for esteem is about feeling valued, respected, and accomplished. As we climb Maslow's pyramid, we seek recognition for our efforts, whether through professional achievements, academic success, or personal milestones. This is where self-worth and external validation often come into play. In modern society, many people measure their self-esteem through likes, followers, or job titles. However, it's important to remember that true self-esteem comes from within. It's about developing confidence and pride in who you are, not just in what you achieve. 4. Self-actualization. Finally, at the peak of the hierarchy, we reach self-actualization. This is where desires transcend basic survival and recognition, and we focus on becoming our best selves. Self-actualization could mean pursuing passions, embracing creativity, or striving for personal growth. It's a deeply individualized experience. For some, it might mean starting a charity. For others, it could involve spiritual exploration or mastering a skill. What's particularly interesting about self-actualization is that it isn't necessarily tied to external rewards. While esteem needs often involve recognition from others, self-actualization is more about internal fulfillment. It's about living authentically, following your curiosity, and achieving a sense of meaning in life. As Maslow put it, it's the desire to become everything one is capable of becoming. Practical application. Moving towards self-actualization. Understanding Maslow's hierarchy can offer valuable insights into your own desires and goals. Here are some practical steps to apply the concepts from this chapter. 1. Assess your current needs. Reflect on where you are in Maslow's hierarchy. Are your basic needs being met? If not, prioritize securing those before moving on to higher aspirations. 2. Focus on esteem from within. While external validation can feel satisfying in the short term, long-lasting self-esteem comes from internal sources. Focus on building confidence and self-worth through personal achievements and growth. 3. Pursue self-actualization. Think about what passions or interests you've put on hold. Self-actualization is about aligning your actions with your deeper values. Whether it's a creative pursuit or contributing to society in a meaningful way, start exploring what brings you a sense of purpose. Conclusion. Maslow's hierarchy remains a powerful tool for understanding how our desires evolve as our needs are met. In modern society, where basic survival is often less of a concern, the pursuit of self-actualization becomes increasingly relevant. As we continue to meet our lower-level needs, our desires shift toward personal growth, self-expression, and fulfillment. In the next chapter, we'll explore how social and cultural factors influence what we want and how we can better navigate the pressures of modern life to achieve true satisfaction.